Wow, it is hot. We're in the middle of a heat wave. My little generator running to run my room standing AC unit. The RV's generator worked when I got it, but it's developed some problems, so I haven't been able to use it. I think the carburetor needs to be cleaned or something, because it would be nice to be able to run the AC unit in here, which works great, but I can't. So we're in the middle of a heat wave, and oh my gosh, it is hot. Parts of the country. Fortunately, it cools down in Utah. I have been in the RV now for just a little over a month, and I just haven't done a lot of video stuff. I'm still trying to get into the routine of putting myself back in front of a camera. Honestly, that's the big part of it. I'm still really self-conscious being in front of the camera. So I left Ogden. I left Ogden around the 10th of the month or so. And I had moved out of my apartment on the 31st of July. So I spent the entire month of August in here, and now we're into September. And I kind of tried to stay in Ogden for a little while because I've got a few friends up there, but it turns out Ogden itself is super unfriendly to RVs. And I actually had a little run-in with an Ogden City parking person who gave me a really hard time for being on the street outside of my apartment. I was getting ready to leave, right? Like, I was parked on the street outside of my apartment for a week, just doing last minute stuff in the RV to get it ready. So the length is a little bit long. I've got to cut it down just slightly. He told me I had to be gone by that day, or else he would get the police on me. And he said that the city of Ogden itself was getting ready to put an ordinance in place where they would tow a car if they found somebody sleeping in the car past 8 p.m. I mean, it was really harsh. And I was just doing last minute stuff and getting ready to travel. And he got kind of huffy with me and said I could not be there and would call the police on me if I was there in the morning. So I was really pretty ready to go. Look at that, it fits perfectly. So that is going to make getting the scooter on and off a lot easier. Now, I bought, I don't know if this is the right product, Bare Premium Waterproofing Stain and Sealer to make it sort of more water resistant, weather resistant. You know, a huge big deal. I would like to have been there in Ogden a little bit longer, but it is what it is. He was just sort of a dork about it. So I was kind of glad to leave, and I've been down here in Utah Valley. I've come back to the flight park, and the upper flight park has been converted to paid parking now. Whether they're actually enforcing that or not, I talked to a guy who is one of the flight instructors here, and he said they did that just to kind of keep drug dealers and stuff you know, from being up there. But there's a lower parking lot here, and I've just been coming here and camping down here. So far it's been great. There are no camping signs, nothing. But I have been spending some of the time in Utah Valley. So I have family down in the Orem, Utah area. And I stayed with my sister for a while. She let me use a bunch of her tools to do some projects in the RV. And then I stayed at my dad's for a week. My dad has a carpet cleaner, and I clean the carpets in the RV. I really hate carpets in RVs. But I honestly, I'll be honest, I get really uncomfortable being around my family for long periods of time. They're nice people, but they're super religious, and it really provokes some anxiety in me. So, weekend before last, I actually took a little mini trip out of Orem in the RV, and I went over to Heber, which is only 20 miles away. When I was in my other RV, I camped out, found this great little weekend parking spot. I don't know if I could do it during the week, but it was next to a storage unit, and I just went back there for a couple of days over the weekend just to kind of get out. So I'm in Heber, Utah. I had to get out of the Provo-Orem area where I've been for about a week. I was, living up in Ogden, and I had to get out of Ogden. I just didn't want to be there anymore. So I've come down to Utah Valley for a while. I actually just made an appointment with an auto mechanic that I used on my previous RV, and they just looked this over. And it was great because they didn't find anything. They said it was in very good condition, except for some front end alignment components. I don't know anything about cars, which is really terrible. I think they said it was the U-joints, or some of the joints they said were original to the RV, but they said other than that, the RV was in incredible condition. And so they said that would affect the stability of the tires, and the tires would wear quicker over time if I left it. So I'm gonna go ahead and have them take care of that on Monday. So I'm on my way to get the RV checked in. The mechanic, so they're gonna do the front suspension work. That'll be all that I need to get done. Wow, it is bright this morning. Oh, it's kind of hazy too. We haven't had as much smoke this year as we have in last year's, but it's still kind of hazy out and bright. So this is the same place that I had my last RV get worked on, and they did a pretty good job. So I just brought it back here. I love that. Look at the little man right here. The sculpture. That's awesome. Yeah, so the thing is, I really want to paint this. I really want to paint the exterior. This is just purely cosmetic. The way the decals are coming off right there. And I really want to paint this, because this is kind of ugly. The way these decals have come off, you can see they're slowly flaking off. So that's going to be a project to come. But, oh boy, look at the sun setting. Anyway, so I just had to kind of get away, and Heber's only about 22 miles away, and I knew about this spot because I had boondocked here in my last RV when I was traveling through Utah. So I'm going to stay here till tomorrow. I've still got some things to do on the interior that I want to take care of. But I ended up finding a couple of city boondocking spaces right in the city. And I'm telling you, if you're ever going to do that, a great place to do it is right by motels or hotels that have side streets. And I happened to find a really great location. So I've been cycling between that and another one I found in between Flight Park here, and honestly I'm really kind of antsy to get out of this area, but it's still so hot. The West is in the middle of an incredible heat wave right now. Bright and sunny out this morning. I'm gonna go into town, so I'm gonna take my scooter off.